Hi folks, it's Danny at Bradley James Classics, and today I'm bringing you a modern car that we are selling on behalf of a local customer of ours who's a neighbour to our business here in Hampshire. Now sadly her father has passed away and she's asked us to sell his car on her behalf, and the car itself is a BMW 320 diesel from 2007. Now this is the model they refer to as the E92. Now that's because it's a coupe model. The 320 diesel is very well known for being both a high performance car but also remarkably economical too. Now the actual model is an SE, which is a special equipment, and that means it does come with a host of standard features from BMW, and let's run through some of those now. I'll also be showing you around the car slowly. Obviously the car isn't a new one, and there are going to be a few minor marks here and there which I will attempt to show you up close with the camera. Now, being an SE model, some of the things you'll notice is this one has alloy wheels all round. It has fog lamps, driving lamps down at a low level. I apologise, they're driving lamps. It has air conditioning, which is ice cold. It has remote central locking, electric windows. It has adjustable mirrors, which are also electric. It does come with 2 sets of keys, a couple of key fobs. And one of the particularly nice things about this car is that it's only had one owner since new. And it appears to have a complete full service history, service record from the supplying dealer, which was a BMW dealer in North Oxford. And there is a vast file of invoices which I flicked through, which shows the full history and also any other repairs. A noticeable one was BMW fitted a new turbocharger I did make a note of it actually, I believe it was 82,000 miles, and that was at a cost of £1,500. Now, being a one owner car that's just been maintained by the original owner, I think that's a very good thing. There has been no cutting corners with the servicing of this car. This is why it drives so well, it feels so fresh. And as I've flicked through that vast file, I did see invoices in there for suspension, struts, and not just servicing and repairs from BMW. And there's not many cars which have got this sort of mileage and this age which still enjoy a full main dealer service record. Now, a little bit about these cars. This one is from the E90 range, and the E92 refers to the fact it is a coupe body style. They first introduced the E90 range in 2004, but it took until 2006 for them to come out with the coupe shape. It's the most prominent 3 Series from a styling point of view. It's very different from the saloon car. You've got these L-shaped rear lights. You've got these swathe lines down the side of the car, which are very handsome. And actually, even the front lamps, they sit taller than the saloon model. There's actually quite a difference with the coupe compared to the predecessor, which was known as the BMW E46, obviously a 3 Series. This car has got a longer wheelbase, a wider track, and it's actually larger inside than the old car. The side windows are smaller, and an altogether larger car, next generation. And this model did last in a coupe guise right through to 2013, 2014, when it was actually replaced by the 6th generation BMW 3 Series, which was known as the F30, F31. So for a lot of people, BMW are the go-to brand. They drive extremely well. They're rear-wheel drive cars. there's good reason people buy them. I mentioned earlier a mix of excellent performance and fuel economy, and just to touch on some of those matters, this one has the well-regarded N47 engine, which is a straight four-cylinder engine that kicks out 174 brake horsepower. You can go from 0 to 60 7.9 seconds and a top speed of 144, so certainly no slow coach of a car. One of the most remarkable things for a car that's capable of that performance is the fact that on urban city driving you can still achieve up to 47 miles to the gallon, and if you're driving it on a trip you can see a return of 59 miles to the gallon, and you can expect just over 800 miles on a tank full, which is pretty remarkable. Excuse me, right. Sorry, back to the car. Now, handling on these cars, they don't drive well by mistake. The legendary BMW ride is because of some of the significant differences between a BMW and, let's say, an ordinary car that doesn't come with the prestige or probably price tag when these cars are new. Now, the front suspension, it uses just McPherson struts, but it's their use of aluminium that make quite a difference to the handling. They have a aluminium hub carrier, plus all the lower arms are all aluminium too. That means they're very strong and light, and that goes a long way to describe and explain the nimble handling from the front end. Now, the rear end is actually a 5-point rear suspension sitting in a steel subframe using steel control arms and a cast iron carrier, so obviously a bit beefier because of the fact it is a rear-wheel drive car. Now, this really does add to the driving pleasure of a BMW. You'll be hard pushed to find a finer handling car, as well as one that performs so well so economically, and I think that's why the 3 Series BMW is such a common sight on the roads. It's a world car. It gets built in several countries around the world, and they made about 500,000 of the 3 Series in this model year, so it's quite a popular car for good reason. Now, I'm going to have a closer look round the car, and I will point out any imperfections I find when I'm going over it with my camera. Now, despite the car having been cleaned, of course it had to rain this morning, so please bear with me. You will notice a few rain splashes on the back. Now, I'll start at the back and I will point out any imperfection I find. Now, we'll start on this corner. Here's the alloy wheels. Now, every single alloy wheel has minor curbing, but nothing which would cause any concern. To make them perfect, they'd have to be fully refurbished, but I really don't think they're in that sort of condition. Now, this rear panel appears to be in good order. No obvious dents and scrapes here, as is the roof. Swooping down to the back bumper and boot lid. Now, I've got a little scrape here on this corner. I've got in quite close for that. The bumper here, got a minor mark at a low point. A little bit of paint missing here. It's worth mentioning, I've just noticed the rear parking sensors. The rest of the boot looks quite good. No scratches on this corner. I think I mentioned the boot lid's in good order. So that's a couple of marks I've mentioned here. Now, this offside rear wing looks to be in good order as I look up and down the car. Looking down this side, this panel appears to be very good. They're very long doors, so quite easy to mark up. I've got a very small stone chip here, but the paintwork looks to be good all round the handle. So this is the driver's side door, looks to be in good order, as does the mirror, as does the frame over the window. I'm just having a a little look at any potential marks. This front wing looks to be good. Onto the front bumper. Now, it's just worth mentioning that whereas the front bumper looks to be in pretty good shape all the way round, there is probably a dozen or so, maybe more, stone chips over the front of this bonnet particularly, and if you get in there you'll probably be able to see them. This is a 108,000 mile car. I think it's absolutely in line with that. So stone chips on the front bonnet. I think this is honest wear and tear. The front bumper otherwise looks to be in good order, as does this near side front wing. Moving down, that looks pretty good. Onto this driver's side door, and let's just have a look here. Yeah, that's a little proud at the bottom. I don't know if it had a little bump at the bottom of this door, but there's no break and paint. I think that's quite respectable, as is this entire door. And looking over on this panel, which is above the windows, and the rest of the roof, and the paintwork looks to be good on the passenger side front. Curbing to this front alloy wheel, and some paint has eroded from the aluminium, as with the other driver's wheel. I think you'd have to refurbish them to get them perfect, but at the price point the car is put up at, it does take into account that if you wanted the wheels to be perfect, you would need to refurbish all four of them. But if you're happy to accept that a 108,000 mile car is likely to have a little bit of wear and tear, then I think you'd be perfectly happy living as is. All the tyres look to be in good order too. So that's the outside of the car. One or two imperfections, but by no means excessive. Now this is the SE model. I'm going to sit in the passenger side. So an SE model, as I mentioned to you, we've got electric windows that are working from here. We've got a BMW CD player. This is the professional version. Now they used to do a business one and a professional one. I think the professional one has some extra speakers. It has climate control, and it's dual zone, so you can set a temperature for the left of the car and the right of the car. The obligatory cup holders here and here. Here we have the BMW service book and handbook. I'm going to show you in the boot is where all the invoices are for the repairs. I'm happy to say that this one, being an SE, does have cruise control. You do have an onboard computer just to scroll through, and I can assure you all the servicing is correct. It's had a full service, and it does in fact come with service history. We have a cloth interior, BMW mats, a leather bound steering wheel and a few steering wheel controls. The headlining is in good order, as are the rear seats and console, which runs behind there. And despite 108,000 miles, the driver's seat is actually still in quite nice order. The plastics inside the car present well. I mentioned the headlining. The interior does present nicely. Now I'm going to pop to the back of the car and open up the boot. I think I mentioned that the car will come with a fresh 1-year MOT. Even the car is still MOT'd, it will come with a fresh one for peace of mind. Here's the two sets of keys we have. They're both the correct BMW remote. And there's one of the buttons that I press, and that will open the boot from the distance. Let's open that up. And quite a large boot inside the BMW. And in here, as I mentioned to you, that is BMW service record all the way through, and there's a lot of it. So we have the handbooks and that file. A nice spacious boot, and I think I'm right in saying this era of BMW, we're not going to find a spare wheel here. They had the well-known space saver, I'm sorry, not space saver, run flat tyres, so you don't carry a spare wheel with the BMW. They've got extra rigid sidewalls, so you have a puncture and then you can drive to a garage for a repair. So you're not going to find a spare wheel. So overall, folks, we're looking at a 2007 BMW 320 diesel SE model, a 6-speed manual gearbox, full service history from BMW right up to the point it arrived here, where we have serviced the car. So you won't need to do that. The car will come with a fresh 1-year MOT. The car is ready to drive away. There's no known issues, there's no warning lights. The car drives particularly well, and I suspect that's because the car has always been meticulously maintained from the supplying BMW dealer in North Oxford. And it's in the classic BMW colour scheme, I guess, which is the bright, brilliant silver metallic paintwork and a contrasting dark charcoaly trim with silver. It's very pleasant, ice cold air conditioning, and we've had some hot weather lately and that's been a real blessing. And I think the only thing we really needed to do, bar a service and a check over, I think we've just looked into, I think we had to replace the front bonnet badge on this particular car. Unfortunately, that had been pinched. We've fitted a new one of those, and the car is all good. Well, thank you for watching my video, folks. The car is available for collection or UK-wide delivery. We need your postcode for a quotation. All the cars go through our workshop. Now, in this case, as we are actually selling it on behalf of the family who own this car, we won't be selling this car with a warranty. It is a used car with 108,000 miles. So just so you are aware, despite the fact that you are buying it from a classic car dealer, it is effectively a private sale, as we are selling it on behalf of the owner. But that makes the car economical. We'll not be charging what a BMW specialist would charge for this model, because we want to be completely transparent. I hope the walk around has shown you some minor bodywork imperfections, but I think that is minor, and generally speaking the car does present really well. If you were going to be fussy, you might consider having the aluminium wheels refurbished, because they aren't the best. However, I think the rest of the car is very acceptable. It drives beautifully well, starts on the button, great performance, but also a very nice return of fuel and the figures that we discussed earlier. Well, thank you for watching the video, folks. This is Danny at Bradley James Classics, signing out.